If you are watching this channel for the first time, please we advise you click on the share button, click on the red subscribe button, and on the notification button, so that when we have a new episode coming out, directly it will be shared to you. You will have the link and be notified of this edition because they keep on coming and it will interest you, it will move you to another level. Welcome, viewers and listeners, to the Daily Positive Living Principle channel with Dr. Daniel Otto. In today's episode, it's going to be another interesting time on this channel. We'll be looking at love languages that maintains connectivity and connection in marriages and in relationship. And I tell you, it will be wonderful. In our last episode, we talked about the purpose of marriage, but we are going to stretch it further in discussing the love languages that can maintain connectivity and connection in our various marriages and relationships. It is pertinent to note that, as a matter of fact, marriage is the source and the origin of all connection. And so it must be given its utmost priority. If not, we will not enjoy peace and tranquility in our societies and in our communities. We must give marriage its utmost high priority if God has ordained it so. That is the only way human beings and our societies can have rest. Let me say that language is the principal method of human communication, used and structured in words and conveyed in words, writing, and in speeches. That is a language for you. Almost every tribe has a language. In Nigeria, we have about 250 different tribes, ethnic groups that are speaking over 300 dialects and languages. In all, statistics have said that in Nigeria, we have about 371 tribes, all speaking different languages. It is worthy of note to say that the oldest tribe in Nigeria is the Ijaw tribe. It consists of the Bayelsa, the Delta, and the River State. But let me say that from the beginning, when God created the world was speaking only one language. Only God knows which language they were speaking then. I don't know whether it's English or French or any of the languages, but they were speaking only one language. Only one language existed when God created the world, and they were speaking only one speech. And at that time, men were very powerful. They can do anything they think they could do. It took God himself in order to reduce and minimize human beings' power by coming down himself. That was the first time we heard that God came down, because he wanted to reduce humans' power, because speaking one language has powers. There is power in speaking one language. What is the importance of language? Language is a vital part of human connection, human communication, human relationship is a vital part. Without knowledge, you cannot communicate well. We use it to share ideas, we use it to share our thoughts, and use it to share our feelings. So this is very, very important. It is only language that distinguishes us from other animals. Human beings are distinguished because we speak languages. Other animals, they do not speak languages. They relate to each other by instincts. That is how they relate with each other. But human beings, we speak languages to ourselves, and so we understand each other. That's what we're talking about. Language have the power to build, to make men, and also to tear down. No wonder, even if people are fighting, by the time languages can make them to stop their fighting. One simple language can quell a whole fighting. That's what we're talking about. Language is a source. It can be used, a function of information, expression, and connection to each other. So, and that is what we talk about marriage. Marriage also has a ability to build unity. No wonder, for example, if you go to any place, maybe abroad, where in the midst of other people, in the midst of so many people, and you hear your brother speaking your own language, it will look as if you people are from the same mother. It looks as if it's your own blood brother. That is what language can do. And so, why are we now talking about love languages? In the whole of the world, love is the greatest force Out of faith, out of hope and love, love is the greatest. Many people marry for so many reasons. People marry for age, people marry for qualification, people marry for fame, abundance, power, money, and all that. The reason why people marry, they may be of different reasons, but the main purpose of marriage should be love. And lack of love has been the reason why our societies have gone bad. People kill now anyhow. In those days, when one Nigerian died, everybody will be aware, everybody will be crying. But now, in a day, thousands of people are dying, and nobody cares anymore because of the failure of love. So, why are we talking about love languages? Love languages does not mean that they should be speaking the same language. That's not what we're talking about. We are talking about speaking and having the same understanding, the same perception. So speaking or love languages, speaking the same love language means that they understand themselves, their perception, their feelings are the same. Why is it supposed to be so? Because people are from different backgrounds. Men and women from different backgrounds, bringing them under one umbrella, under one bed, one relationship in a marriage. With different background, they need to be speaking the same language, which is called the love language. People with different background, people with different trainings. Do you know that some people were brought up under only one single parent? Others were brought up in polygamous homes. Others have different experiences, different feelings when they were growing up. Some did not even know their father. Others were molested and raped while they were coming on. And so there are different kind of experiences from different people. And these are the people that were brought up and they have to live together. Some were brought from disciplined home. Others brought up in orphanages. Others were molested by relations and all others. And so two people with different backgrounds are coming together. So we need to speak the same language. That is why we are talking about. And so, if we are not speaking the same language, it means that our understanding will not be the same, and that marriage can easily be fragmented. No wonder for us to come speaking under our same language. There has to be a new orientation, a baptism, where you have your orientation and the background has to be renewed so that we can understand themselves. And that is what happens when we enter into oath in marriage. At that point, there is a new orientation that is coming on everybody so we can be on the same page. And that is why we are talking about love languages. So we talk about love language because it is very, very essential. If not, one of the spouses will be speaking one language, another will be speaking the other. But we are talking about speaking the same, people having the same kind of understanding. And that is the only way that marriage can survive. If God that created the world knew how powerful speaking the same language is and has to come down to now discomfit and disrupt human operation and causing more languages and splitting their language so that they can speak different languages and then reduce their power, then who are we as humans to now talk less on love languages? And so we should talk about it more. So what are we talking about? Love language. Love languages that we need to speak so that the spouse can understand, have the same perception. What are the love languages? What love languages are we talking about today? Number one, I can tell you there are about 8 love languages that we're going to be talking about in this episode. But I like to just give one in this episode so we can follow it up gently. Number one of this love language, brothers and sisters, is affirmation, language of affirmation, language of adoration, language of encouragement, language of recognition, language of assurance. This is very, very key. A woman wants to be acknowledged at all times. A woman needs to be assured that he is recognized. A woman wants to be adored at all times. A woman wants to be said that he's accepted at all times. He doesn't want it to be buried inside of you as a spouse. He wants it to be vocalized, to be verbalized. A woman wants to be told, I love you so many times, as much as possible. No matter how many times you say it, it must be verbalized. He does not want you to be like a deaf and dumb in marriage. Even if you're a stammerer in marriage, you must wake up. Your mouth must be speaking. If you become a deaf and dumb in marriage, I'm telling you, that marriage will be fragmented. So they need to be assured of their position. They need to know that there is no contention or there's any rivalry with them in the house. So they need to be told as many times as possible. And this is why there's always problem in the polygamous home, because women feel that there are contentions around, and so they enter into all manner of manipulation and diabolical means. This is why what we are talking about. So there must be language of affirmation, language of encouragement, language of adoration, so that they can be on the same page. This is very, very key. And when a woman is assured of this so many times, you can be sure that that woman will be together with the husband. What did Charles Darwin say? He said it is not the strongest of the species that survives or the most intelligent that survives, but the species that survives is the most responsive to change. So we need to change from different backgrounds, because of disparities, because of differences that we have from different backgrounds. We need to respond to this change when we come under one umbrella of marriage. We need to deorientate ourselves from our former background, from our former qualification when we come under one umbrella. This is what we are talking about. So the first love language we are talking about is that one, and we need to hold it, because that is one of the ways that marriages and couples can now come together. As I begin to round up, let me tell us, there are repercussions, there are consequences when there is no connection in marriage, when there is no connection in our relationship, when we are not connected in the world, there is repercussion. This is a real life story I want to tell you now. There is the story of this lady, Joyce Vincent, a real life story, who was living in near London flat in those days in 2003. Joyce Vincent was living, and as time goes on, he died of an asthmatic attack in the night. And days goes by, nobody knew that this woman died. He left her television on, and the noise continued like that. There used to be a huge dustbin around her flat, and so the stinks and the smell that was coming out of her decomposed body, nobody feel that there is anything happening inside the house. So days progress into weeks, weeks progress into years, into months, and months progress into years, and it continued like that. It is done in such a way that mails that come to her was coming into the house frequently, but they were unanswered. But her rent, where he was paying rent, was set up in such a way that it will be deducted from her account, just deducted like that on the spot. And so it continued. So the landlord continued to receive his own rent continuously. So it came to a point that her account now dried up after so many years. And when her account dried up, the landlord began to send letters and all that of how to recover his rent and all that. But those letters fell on the stacks around the house. Nobody could attend to them. It was just around there. Even the noises, the kids and all that, and the teenagers that are making noise around there, nobody could even feel the noise that was coming out of our television room. Nobody called, nobody talked about this until the landlord now, after over 6 months, he could not get his rent. He had to now go to the court and have a court order so he can now evacuate her from the premises. And so he got a bailiff. The bailiff now went to the house and then decided to open the door. There was no response. And he saw that there was no life. When he saw that there was no life, he decided to break the door open. When he broke the door, that was where he found the decomposed body of Joyce Vincent. Oh, this story is actually very jaw-dropping. It's unfathomable. The question I asked is that this woman, was she not connected to any family? Was she not connected to a friend? Doesn't she have a friend? Is there no co-worker or a neighbor that he was close to? My brothers and sisters, This girl just died. Nobody called. No family member called. And at the time, at this period, it was already 38 years. So many years have passed from 2003 down to January 2006. Nobody knew that she was alone and she has died. That is how loss of connectivity can be. When we lose connection with each other, oh my God, it means that we are a lone ranger and anything can happen. Disaster can happen. Death can even occur. We need to take this further. We need to be our brother's keeper. Despite what is happening in our society, we need to be our brother's keeper. We need to keep up with connection. We need to make calls. We need to check on each other. We need to look at each other and see how we are feeling. The love must return back if our society must be good. I'd like you to hook on to this channel and go with me gently as we go further in the next episode. Please stay tuned for the next episode when we're going to be discussing the other love languages that follow. God bless you and thank you for listening to me.